You can see. So this is a little American alligator. It's not a crocodile.
Okay, here we go. Here's a couple more. In fact, one of them just flew.
In order to protect our habitats, it's important to do the baseline ecological research on the plants and animals in them. Now, there's a variety of institutions that are doing ecological research in the area. Let's take a look at some of these scientists and some of the work they're doing. We're here at the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources Waddell Mariculture Center, and we're here with Al Stokes, and he is the manager of this facility. Al, I appreciate you letting us come and hang out with you today.
Oh, glad to have y'all here today.
So tell us a little bit about some of the research that you do here.
We have 3 fish species we're working with, developing tools to rebuild populations, and those are spotted sea trout, red drum, and cobia. And we have a small project looking at culturing marine shrimp and a biofloc system.
Well, that's all important stuff.
Oh, yes.
Al, what are you guys doing to sort of restock fish populations in the low country?
Well, we get our larvae from the Marine Resources Division in Charleston. We hold them 30 to 40 days, and then we harvest them and move them to locations up and down the coast, and then we monitor those fish populations. And we do that looking at their DNA. With no plastic tags, DNA doesn't fall off. And so we will put out, usually stock about 1 million to 1.5 million fish a year.
So Al, what's in these tanks?
Nothing at the moment. We received $1.1 billion from the legislature. We got a lot of support from our legislative delegation and DNR, and we're going to start renovation in the next month or so. So everything is empty in here, and we'll start moving all the tanks out and start rebuilding.
Yeah, and so what we're looking at today is mostly outside.
Everything's outside today. We're going to go to a pond and remove some adult red drum and some black drum. It's going to be a complete harvest of that pond. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So Al, I absolutely love to catch red drum, but tell us why they're so important to the ecosystem.
Oh, they're a wonderful predator. They'll feed on finfish, they'll feed on crustaceans. They're fun to catch, especially around oyster banks. They're very aggressive feeders. Red drum spawn in the fall, and about 14 to 15 months later, they'll weigh about 1 pound. So they'll be in the estuarine systems for 3 to 4 years before they move offshore and become adults. Great predator.
Oh, they're fabulous. So how long do they live?
In South Carolina, I think the oldest fish we've seen in the 40-year range.
That's
the literature, it says they can reach up to 55 years old. We need to, study these fish as much as possible, learn their life history, and so we'll be able to protect these fish for years to come.
And it's a critically important sport fish. I mean,
yes, it's worth millions of dollars to the state's economy. It's our #1 sought after sports fish. This is going to be a lot of fun because we generally don't deal or work with large fish, and these are quite large. So it's going to be exciting to get out there and catch these fish.
I can't wait.
It's going to be great.
Now, this is part of a much bigger study that involves colonization of a saltwater impoundment or pond. And it involves University of South Carolina Beaufort, Waddell Mariculture Center, and South Carolina DNR, and also the Low Country Institute. And USCB has looked at what zooplankton and crabs and small fish have come in the pond to get it ready. So here's our fearless team from University of South Carolina Beaufort, and we thought it'd be good to take sort of a before picture because I think these guys are going to look quite different after this process. Okay, so here's a red drum, pretty good size one. See if we can get him out. So what a magnificent fish. We want to get this one right in the tank as quick as we can. But you see where they get the redfish name, beautiful, kind of sometimes a red, but more often kind of a gold or silver color. So let's get this guy up into the tank. Boy, they are strong. They're awesome, strong fish.
This is a black drum. It's got kind of an interior mouth. He's likes to feed on crustaceans, so he stays near the bottom. They can stay in deep water, shallow water. A lot of people like to catch them. They love crabs. They use sometimes a half a crab or more to feed on these.
So they have
fish.
really powerful jaws for crunching up
Powerful jaws,
crustaceans and such. How much do you think this fish weighs, Al?
He's probably a good 30 pounds, 25, 30 pounds.
And I
Big
noticed
fish.
these spectacular spines right
Oh
here.
yeah, and they'll get you too.
So this guy's going in this tank, and then we're going to move him to a travel tank, and then off he'll go.
We're just
to the new
rinsing him
impoundment.
off here and get any hydrogen sulfide that might be in the tank or got in his gills, cleaning him up here. It's high oxygenated water, moving to his transportation trailer, and then he'll be out of here shortly. Set him in the edge and then
Let's set him in the edge of the-
There you go.
Oh my gosh, look at how pretty this
Pretty
fish is.
Nice spot on
Beautiful
the tail.
red gold color and that great spot.
Pretty.
Well,
Look
this
how
is
white. Look how white the bottom of the fish.
And this is an absolute favorite sport fish,
yeah.
isn't it? This is,
Yes, this is what people really go after. What a beautiful,
understand
what
why.
a beautiful fish.
good job catching that, guys. These guys just caught the big red of the day, I think. This animal is massive. So we want to real quick get him in a tank, but we can get a better look at him. But that is a massive red drum. And look at this animal. This is one of the biggest red drum I've ever seen. And that is, we want to get him, let's go ahead and get him right in the tank. It looks like, boy, that's a big fish. How much do you think this weighs?
Ooh, I'd say at least 50 or 60 pounds.
That is the big red drum. Let's see if we can, we've got him rinsed off, now we can get him to the main tank. Well, that water's nice and cold. Boy, that is a beautiful fish. Okay, so you guys remember the before picture. This is the after picture. So the fish are all out of the pond. We're gonna run them back to their new impoundment. So we gotta get going. But guys, that was awesome. Thank you so much for helping us out. So we just released some beautiful red drum, and Claire Thompson, a student from University of South Carolina, Beaufort, has been doing research here to see if this is a good place for these fish to go, right?
Yes. We've been taking water samples, which will count the number of phytoplankton in the water, which they're the bottom of the food chain. So minnows will eat those, which we're about to check to see how many we have here. And then the larger fish will eat those, and so on and so forth.
Oh wow, looks like a bunch of mud minnows, huh? Well, this is a great example of research collaborations. We got Weddell Mariculture Center, we got University of South Carolina, Beaufort, we got Low Country Institute. This is a good deal. My good friend Whit Gibbons has been studying cottonmouths for the past many, many years, and he's written numerous scientific papers and popular articles on them. And he's agreed to take us out looking for cottonmouths today. Whit, welcome.
How are you? Good
to see you again. And I have to say, I actually met Whit when I was 10 years old, and Whit let me borrow some minnow traps that I used to do kind of a survey of the fish and reptiles and amphibians in my own neighborhood. And I ended up working for Whit for 21 years at the Savannah River Ecology Lab. So we've had some great field adventures together, haven't we?
We sure have.
So tell me, what are we up to today?
Well, I think today what we're going to do is test the test cottonmouths. In other words, we're going to show that, I hope we will show that when you approach a cottonmouth just out in the wild, and stand next to it, that they do not, they have a very bad reputation.
They do. People think they're just horrible.
Right, and that's because they open their mouth, give a threat display, but they're just saying, leave me alone. I'm wearing what I'm hoping what are snake-proof boots, and we'll walk up to the cottonmouth, stand next to it.
I'd like to point out I'm wearing kind of flimsy rubber boots. So
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you can try it too for the small ones, maybe, huh? What do you think?
You can do the stepping on.
Yeah, and then I would nudge the cottonmouth and have it start crawling away, and then I would step gently, don't want to hurt it, but just enough to hold it down, stand on its back. And then the third thing, this is the fun part, is then we let that one go and then we catch it. We catch it with the hand.
This is I might add, the same mechanical hand that we used a long time
Yes,
ago.
it is. It's the
I don't
same
think
one.
it's changed much, but
Yeah,
and this won't hurt the snake, but it does.
No, it doesn't hurt it. It's very soft. Well, it's a leather glove, and you just grab the snake.
I like the watch. I think that's a nice
Yeah,
touch.
the time hasn't changed, actually. Even then, only about 1 out of 4 or 5 will even bite, even when picked up. But what it shows is, that's why a lot of cottonmouth bites are to the hand, because people, for whatever reason, I don't know, pick them up.
Well, the overwhelming majority of people that are bitten by venomous snakes are either trying to kill it or catch it or something.
That's right, or do something they don't need to
Generally,
be doing.
if we leave them alone, they leave us alone.
Yeah, right,
for sure.
exactly right.
Well, this is my kind of trip. This can be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Let's see what we can find. Tony, I think some of these pools like this around the edges might be good, don't you think?
Whit, here's one right here. So let's.
Okay.
So
All right. So
I'll let you
So we
proceed
give it-
with the
you
protocol.
You hold that. Oops, oops. Don't go away. Sometimes they try to get away. That's one of the most common things they do, is they try to get away.
Yeah, it's a
So you
little,
can't really-
little different than what most people say.
I'm going to maybe have to, I'm going to step on him first.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to be able to stand beside him.
And
because
again,
he's-
real gently so you don't hurt the snake.
Right. Okay, I'm standing on top of him. And you can see he's more interested in just trying to get away.
God, you'd think he'd bite.
I'm not
with your
hurting.
foot on him
I'm
like
not
that.
hurting him. I'm just holding him so he can't crawl away.
In the research you did, this was what was common, right? So very often this is
Yes,
exactly what
this
they
is
would do.
nearly always what they did. Almost always. He's not trying to bite. Now this is not to say that if you stepped on a cottonmouth, there might be an occasion, once in a while, that one would turn around and
Right.
bite, but most of the time, they would not. Okay, then our next step was to pick them up by hand, like somebody might decide to do for some unknown reason. But this is where, and even here, look at that. It's not biting at all.
That's just.
He just wants to get away.
I'm just glancing at the snake. It looks like it's a female. I'm going by the tail.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
It's getting closer and closer.
trying to get.
At eye level, it's a little more intimidating, isn't it? But it looks like it's a female. And boy, it is not eliciting any kind of aggression at all. Not
No,
showing any aggression
no.
at all.
look at that.
Boy, look at the head on this thing. Big viper head, pit viper head.
Yeah, look at that.
This is pretty typical coloration, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, for some of the big ones get black, as you know, but some of the big ones stay this kind of olive color with banding.
And again, not a banded water snake. Huge wedge-shaped head and just a thick head too. You know, they're really very different than the water snakes are. So Whit, what is the reality on cottonmouths? I mean, they have this horrible reputation.
Of course, this is a probability situation, but most of them are they're not gonna attack you. They're not gonna come across the swamp trying to bite you.
Yeah, I think that's this misconception that these animals just come racing towards you and latch onto your leg, and you just don't see that.
I think it's that apparent, what gives the appearance of aggressive behavior is really defensive behavior. They open their mouth and
popping the
say,
mouth open.
hey, leave me alone. And if you'll notice when they do open their mouth and you get up close, unless they're going to bite, they don't have their fangs even revealed. They're just saying, hey, here's a...
Because like other pit vipers, those fangs flip into position and can fold out
that's
when
right.
they're ready to bite.
So,
well, I think we've given this guy probably enough of a test. And boy, this is great cottonmouth habitat. This is just
I know.
classic habitat.
It is, isn't it?
Really
Yeah.
pretty place.
Oh, right here, right here. Don't
Wow, this one's really running, isn't it?
Yeah, he's trying to get away. Come here, come here, come here. Wait, as I said, they try to get away if they can, and this is an open area that apparently I don't know if we'll even have a chance to stand next to him because he's trying to get away.
A little less of a pattern on this one. So even standing next to him, I mean, he certainly has an opportunity to bite if he wants to. And you are sure those snake boots are snake bite proof, correct?
I hope so. I really do.
You want to try stepping on this one lightly and see?
Ooh.
Okay, well that one elicited a strike.
Yeah, but we've been pestering him. Ooh.
I'd like to see, you know, I'd like to see that that gaping behavior. We notice the tail rattling too.
Yeah,
so
tail's
a
rattling.
lot of snakes
And
actually
you
do
can
that.
smell him too. You can tell this by his posture that he's ready to strike now. He's
Well, and
ready.
again, we've kind of surrounded
See
him.
how he's swelling up? Look at his body. And he's probably out here because they eat fish, little fish or big fish. This one could eat a bigger fish. Frogs, other snakes. They're very, very, really cannibalistic. They'll eat other cottonmouths.
I remember you and I, when we found a roadkill red-bellied water
That's
snake.
right, we did.
And we left it there, and we were on our way back to get it
And
on the way
came
back.
and the cottonmouth was out eating it. Right,
It was
did.
swallowing it dead. Remember, it was all
It was-
rotten.
It was a roadkill. Yeah, sure was.
That's absolutely
So
incredible.
they will eat roadkills, they'll eat mammals, they'll eat birds, they eat other snakes.
And there's even a population of these, right, that feeds largely on disgorged fish at a bird
Yeah,
rookery, right?
in Florida, yeah, Seahorse Key, sure enough. I think you and I both would tell people, Tony, people should not mess with these animals. They're very dangerous. They're pretty docile most of the time. They obviously, once you pester them, they can...
Well, they're like a lot of things. They
Yeah.
are good at protecting themselves if they need to.
This is clearly a animal to be not feared, but to be respected.
Well, Whit, obviously we've kind of harassed this snake enough.
Yeah.
But so what do people, if people encounter a snake, obviously they're not going to do the protocol we just did. How do they keep from getting bit?
Oh, I think you see a snake, you stop, back up if you need to, if you're too close, and just enjoy it. Watch
Well,
it, see what
and
it'll
this is
do.
a good point. I mean, we're very close to it. We're still out of striking range. And cottonmouths have a right to be here just like anything else. It's unfortunate they can hurt us, but they have a role in nature and an ecological niche that they fit into.
Absolutely.
Well, Whit, I appreciate you letting us hang out with you today.
Oh,
This is a
it's
beautiful place.
Great
and
fun.
We saw
yeah.
some great stuff.
Yeah, sure enough.
Trying to get away from people. See what we can find down here. This is what I've been looking for, Tony.
Here we are, an alligator nest. Wow, boy, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, it
I
is.
guess we need to be a little bit careful. Mom should be somewhere nearby, right?
Yeah, what they'll do is they'll come out and walk over this nest, and when they hear the young vocalize, they'll go ahead and open it up and let the young out.
Looks like a dinosaur nest.
She's an older female. She's been nesting in there for a long time.
Well, I mean, we obviously don't want to hurt the eggs of the hatchlings, but can we kind of carefully go through here and make sure there are eggs in it?
Yeah, we can check this. This late in incubation is not going to do any harm.
Tom, I noticed there's a pretty good path right there.
Yeah, I was planning on you being in this path and me on the other side.
Yeah, let's keep Tom right in. Be sure you let me know if she...
I'll let you know if I hear any hissing.
show me the best way to do this. So you think?
Yeah, the eggs are usually in the top third.
Okay, and I'm going to be
And usually
really
right
careful.
pretty much in the center.
I just felt an egg. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to keep it in the same position.
When they first lay the eggs, Tony, it's real leathery like you'd expect of a reptilian egg. But when you get this one out, you realize that it's almost crystalline. Like
oh yeah, they feel like a chicken egg. They really do. I'm going to keep it in the same position, and there we go.
Yep.
Boy, there feels like the surface of the egg is starting to almost crack up a little bit.
Yeah, when they started incubating these in captivity, they washed them off, and they found they wouldn't hatch. So all that growth on there gets into the cracks of the egg and actually starts to break it open. So it makes it easier for
so
hatchlings to get out.
that probably means these are on their way. You're pretty quick,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, these are got to be close to hatching.
And obviously we're not going to pull this. We're not going to pull this whole nest open, but just ballpark, how many eggs are in here?
On average, 44.
Wow, ballpark. So 44 eggs, and what's the most you've ever heard of?
Oh, I think they found nests that had 70 eggs in them.
Wow, and then as few as 20 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Mm-hmm. Tony, these are probably less than a week from hatching.
Oh, it just chirped. Oh my,
Yep.
this egg is actually chirping. Oh my gosh, it's almost hatching in my hands.
Yep.
Which is, which is a little bit exciting. Oh, how cool is that? So that means these are,
Yeah,
so,
they're days away from hatching.
oh man. So what they'll do is use, like you said, that egg tooth, slice through this, and then how long do they stay? I mean, how long does it take, the hatching process, how long does it take?
Well, it's usually 65 days or a little bit more of incubation, and then over a period of a couple of days, the clutch will come out.
Anyway, so I'm gonna put this back in, and then we're just gonna cover them back up. And it sounds like we better move on out of here.
And of course, the fact that the female stays around the nest provides protection for the nest. And a good mom like this one, who's real experienced, will protect this nest, and then she'll protect the young even after they hatch for
Right.
probably the first 2 years.
So I think we need to get out of here now, but what I want to do is come back to this nest in a week or so, maybe?
Yeah, I think these hatchlings will probably be out and about in less than a week.
Oh man, this is really cool.
All right, let's see if we can find our way out of here.
Well, here we are 2 days later, and obviously Mom's been here and opened up the nest, huh, Tom?
Yeah, it's pretty clear that when you were handling the eggs 2 days ago, they were starting to chirp. And what she's doing is she's coming over top of the nest, and when she hears that chirping sound, that's her cue to open it up. And you can see she opened it up towards the water, so that those young ones have a ramp to run right down into the water and be safe.
Well, I think we ought to creep down and see if we can find some babies.
All right.
Again, we need to keep an eye out for Mom, but let's see what we can
See
find.
what's going on. Yeah.
And sure enough, Tom, I see some babies.
Yep.
Boy, they're so cryptic. I mean, you think that they would really stand out with that bold pattern, but here's a couple that just popped up right here.
But those stripes down there, you know, it kind of breaks up the silhouette, so it doesn't ever look like an animal.
I noticed they still have some material attached to them. Well, of course, they just hatched, so they must have come out last night, maybe.
Most likely.
So these animals will grow to, their females 8 feet long possibly, and males 10 feet long, huh?
Yeah, regularly. So they're increasing their body weight, you know, hundreds of times. By doing that, they're actually, you know, foraging on all different types of prey. So they're utilizing a lot of the different resources just because they're small, then medium, and then large sized.
It's important to point out that you got to be careful around alligators. We don't think Mom's nearby. Of course, we're being very careful. And Tom, different moms have different sort of temperaments, right?
Yeah, exactly. And all the nests we go up to, some are, you know, very attentive and will come up and hiss and snap their jaws and do all kinds of things. Others you don't even see, but they're obviously there.
I like that term, attentive. I mean, it's a nice way of saying that they're around and protecting their young.
Yeah, I mean, most people would probably say they're aggressive, but that's not really the case. I mean, they're protecting the young, and that's not, I mean, they're not looking at you as a food source. They're looking to protect their young.
Exactly, just doing what they're supposed to be. Well, Tom, this has been a real treat. I sure appreciate you sharing your research with us.
Well, it was my pleasure, Tony, and we'll be following up with these guys and looking at the sex ratio of these hatchlings and then following them through as they grow up and see if that's how that sex ratio may change.
Well, this is exciting stuff. Each one of these little eastern king snakes was hatched in captivity, and the parents came from right here in these woods. So each one of these snakes has been marked with a cohort mark, a year mark. And that lets us know that if we catch one of these snakes again, what year it was released. Now, I'll tell you what's really exciting is I've already gotten several recaptures. So I know that some of these snakes are surviving. And one of the questions with eastern king snakes, this is a species, by the way, that's declining throughout much of its range, is can they be raised in the lab and will they survive in captivity if captive raised and released? Now I'm gonna let these guys go right here. These are great woods for king snakes. So I think there's a good chance I'm gonna see one of these little guys again. You know, a lot of local researchers have done extensive studies on our habitats and the plants and animals that live in them. But there is so much more to learn and so many wonderful discoveries awaiting us. Thanks for joining us on Coastal Kingdom.